I heard many of the same issues. I didn't like it, but is it a bad speaker? No, it's decent.
Yeah, I would not say it's a bad speaker.
But I was still not getting this effortless airiness that I'm used to with most better speakers.
And there was absolutely no mid-range at all.
Wow, that's quite, an assessment.
You're over 50 years old, right? And you leap to that, yeah, keep filming. You leap to that kind of conclusion just because, how do you leap to, anyway, are you filming? Hi everyone, Adrian from Audio Excellence Canada. Forgive the rant. But we have to do this because on the one hand, anyway, let's just start.
Wait, can I interrupt you?
Yes, that's right. Philip, Lewis, and the two Alexes in front of us.
Yeah, they're hiding again.
So anyway, this is a response video to the Buchardt video that we did. If you haven't seen it yet, Alex will link it in the description box. So let me start off by first saying our initial reasons for doing this and what we thought. So first of all, the protocol, we listened as always separately. So Lewis would listen, then Philip, and then I would listen. We don't listen to it together as always. We don't share our opinions. We listen to it separately at different times, but always using the same system, so this way we can share our opinions in a relevant manner, number one. Number two, the room is roughly about 10 by 12. Maybe Alex later can do a quick B-roll and show you what the room looks like. While the room is roughly 10 by 12, the ceiling is very high. It's about 20 feet tall. So in terms of the cubic dimensions, it's large. Having said that, the way that the room is laid out, you're sitting quite close to the speakers, maybe 8 feet or so from the speakers. The speakers are typically maybe 2 feet or so from the wall behind them. And the speakers are roughly 8 to 9 feet apart from center to center. The reason that we use Hegel in this case, and then I chose to also use the Petrie, is because we are very familiar with the equipment. It doesn't mean that we only like Hegel, we only carry Hegel. If you go to our website, you can see that we also carry PS Audio, we carry Name, Macintosh, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just, we just use stuff that we know, and we know works well with difficult speakers, which means that if the speaker is not difficult, you'll have no difficulty driving it. So here are my issues in a nutshell, and then Philip and Lewis will chime in. My issues, which caused me some hesitation, were, first of all, the image height, which I didn't really actually talk about in the video, but Philip did, so I didn't go into it. The image height, when I was playing my playlist, was consistently very low. So the speakers, imagine listening to, politically incorrect Munchkins, right? So the sound happens to be a foot and a half from the ground. It was very disconcerting. A big part of a good audio system is to be able to suspend disbelief. Philip has said many times he doesn't care all that much about soundstage and imaging. I care more. I'm sure Lewis does as well.
Well, but I have to have it, right. But it's not the first and most important things on my list.
Okay, so be that as it may, if a system doesn't do that, let's say it just sounds like 2 mono speakers, but it creates an emotional content that is undeniable, I will still fall in love with that system. As opposed to, let's say, having a system that images like incredible, but sounds terrible. It doesn't emotionally engage. For me, that is a no-no. So for me, that was one of those things. The image was very short, and so I couldn't suspend my disbelief. The other issue was that the dynamic contrast was average. I was going to say poor, but that would be unfair. It wasn't poor, it just wasn't good enough, I think. And so for me that was distracting. And when I say dynamic contrast, I don't mean how loud it plays. I mean at any given volume level that you've set it at. So let's say if you're using a volume control that's analog and it's set at 10 o'clock, which is the level that you normally play at, the soft sounds were not soft, the loud sounds were not loud. It was just always basically this band in between, sort of like listening to your system in the car. It just never really got all that interesting. It seemed a bit compressed. And then finally, lacking in airiness. And I don't mean extension. The high frequencies were there, it just didn't sound very airy. And if you don't know what I mean, I can't explain it. You'd have to hear a system or speakers that do it, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. So for me, those were the issues. I don't think I concluded by saying this was a no for me. And if I did, maybe I was being a little bit harsh. But it might have been because I was leading up to thinking, oh man, this is going to be exciting because everybody loves these speakers. I'm excited to hear these.
Let's get this straight.
Yeah.
Most of the internet reviewers, and especially of the reviews I've seen, they love this speaker.
Speak up a bit, yeah, the microphone.
They love this speaker.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. I
We've
didn't
had
mean the
plenty
reviews,
of comments after our review where our listeners are agreeing with our perception of what we heard. Okay, so it's not like we listened to it and we were the only ones. The Three Stooges were the only ones who heard it that way. There are literally thousands of people out there who have heard it the same way and have chosen not to keep the speaker. And they mention in exactly the same words that we use what they didn't like about it. So, you know, it's not in a vacuum here. And certainly, you know, it's always about taste. You might really, really, really like it for the kind of balance that it has. We did not find that to be the case. And I was the most effusive of the three of us because I certainly didn't give it a negative, but I didn't give it a super positive either. For me, it was middling. It was okay. I liked it, but would I choose it? Probably not. That's the main thing.
And Louis, do you have anything you want to add?
I could not recommend it, to be honest. I found the detail was not there for my liking, or the tonal capability. What I was hearing is not for me. We have various products in Audio Excellence, and low-level detail is what I would go for because I don't want to hear anything too loud. I have to turn it up to hear anything. And low-down detail, there was none for me. I would not say don't buy this speaker, but it's not for me.
Okay, so let's address some of the questions that were
you know, this video will turn out longer than the original review.
Yeah. So these are some of the questions that were asked. Okay, could it be defective? Possibly. Now, when I say defective, I don't mean that the speakers were obviously damaged. They weren't. There was certainly plenty of bass, whether or not you like the bass. Mid-range was there. High frequencies were there. So nothing obviously damaged. Defective, when I say defective, I mean could it be that the speakers are different than what the original design intended for them to be? Sure. I have no way of knowing at this point what the original designer intended the speakers to be. I don't know that. Is his name Mads?
Mads.
Yeah, Mads has replied to the video, and I replied back. You can read that. So at this point, I don't know, and I can't say that it isn't. I have, however, as Philip will attest, offered to buy the speakers back as soon as the owner bought the speakers and saw our video. He was dismayed. He said in his video, in his email, that he really likes his speakers much more than his current speakers, and he was dismayed about our opinions. And I immediately said, look, if you're not happy, let me buy them back. I don't want you to keep the speakers if you're not happy. And so that may happen, and if it does, we might do a part two. I might do some preliminary measurements to show you if there's anything that is obviously wrong with them. I might even get our friend Val to use his professional suite of measurements, measuring tools to do an actual measurement. The only problem with measurements is this. While you can certainly measure for frequency response and other things, I don't know of any measurement that directly correlates to poor dynamic contrast or good dynamic contrast. I've been thinking about it, and I've been doing this a long time. As some of you know, my training is in engineering, so I don't know of anything. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. If there's one that directly correlates to dynamic contrast, please let me know.
Well, you know that ASR measured this and found it perfect.
I don't know that. So yeah. And again, you can certainly measure for frequency response. But here's the interesting thing about frequency response. I'm not going to name any names, but suffice to say, in Canada, many decades ago, the Canadian government did something wonderful, which was they set up this organization called the National Research Council in Ottawa, right? And Dr. Floyd Toole was in charge of this, came up with a number of ideas, or his research showed that if a speaker did these things, it should measure well and it should sound good. And so consequently, a lot of our Canadian speaker manufacturers would actually use these research information to build and design their speakers. So PSB, Paradigm, and a bunch of others, Mirage and so on, made their speakers around those kinds of ideas. Suffice to say, as much as I am a big Canadian fan of all things Canadian, except for the Leafs, had to throw that in.
What about the Jays? What about the Jays?
Yeah.
But the point is that with a lot of the speakers that I find having those kinds of attributes, I generally don't find them particularly interesting to listen to. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm certainly not saying that you shouldn't buy them. I'm just saying that for me, I don't find them all that interesting. That's just me, and that's just my taste, and take it for what it's worth. Could it be damaged? Again, all drivers appear to work properly, and the previous owner is an older gentleman. I've known him for many years. He plays music at relatively soft levels. It's in his family room, so he can't play it loud. The third other question, we hate it because we don't sell it. Well, that's the feedback.
Well, we did sell it.
Yeah, well, because we don't sell the speakers. We're not a Buchardt a dealer.
No one is.
Yeah, so that's why we hate it, and it threatens our business model. So there's a few thoughts. So first of all, I had no idea what they were going to say in the video. So to say that we collectively hate it, is crazy. Because in all of our videos, if you go back, and we have like 290 videos now, we've always maintained this Chinese wall, if you will. So how could I have known what they were going to say? And secondly, Philip had pointed out in one of his responses that he likes a bunch of speakers that we don't sell.
I love a lot of speakers we don't sell. Which we did sell them. Yes. What's wrong with JBL? I love JBL.
Bose.
No, that's a Lewis thing.
Right?
Oh, come on, Lewis. I know. No, I don't like Bose either. But,
yeah. So.
But lots of people don't.
Yeah, and
they do.
There are some totems that I like. I can't say I like every totem because I've not heard everything. But certainly at the shows, the last Toronto show, the totem that
the little totem
sounded fabulous.
Sounds fabulous, right?
We don't carry totems.
Really great.
The B&W 802 D3 sounds quite nice. I like them. Philip doesn't particularly crazy, but Vivid audio speakers, every single one I've ever heard, I've always loved. So I don't sell Vivid.
Hey, I didn't like Wilson, who actually came here and actually listened. So part of it is that you actually have to listen to the speaker. You can't just say, in a vacuum that we're haters of these things. We've heard a lot of different stuff, and we continue to listen to lots of different things. There's a lot of consignment pieces that come through the store. We have an opportunity to taste and sample basically almost everything that's out there in the marketplace eventually.
Sure.
Not maybe all at the same time, but we do get it coming through the store. We have a very broad base of listening experience.
Well, here's an example. In the small room right now, because it's here for testing, somebody brought in one of Philip's clients, a Jadis preamp and a Jadis monoblock power amplifier. One amp has a little bit of noise, but aside from that, do you guys like the sound?
It's gorgeous. It's luscious.
Love it.
But I would not own it.
Yeah. Here's a question. Are we Jadis dealers?
No.
There you go. So, right, this is absolute nonsense. We did not offer options. Well, Lewis mentioned that he preferred his Dynaudios, his own speakers. He mentioned, or one of you mentioned in passing, the Luminas.
Lewis again.
Right.
Yeah.
But you will notice that we did not categorically suggest that you should buy our Sonus Fabers or whatever other speakers that we might carry, or Magnepans and so on. Well, although we didn't do it on a conscious level, I think on a subconscious level, the reason is because we weren't trying to recommend our stuff. This was a video talking about our impressions of the Buchardt.
We literally get asked every week to review something that we do not carry, and usually it's something really expensive. And in this one case, the Bucharts came in, so Adrian made a shift in our.
Well, since we
policy.
owned it, I said why not, right?
So there's no conflict
Yeah.
of interest here.
Right.
We are just giving our impressions.
Right.
If you don't agree with it, that's perfectly fine. We've always said that it's a matter of preference. There is no wrong here. It's just that the three of us, the five of us, didn't like it, and now it's raised hackles.
So, one other question. Why didn't we reach out to Buchardt if we thought it was so bad? The truth is, I didn't even think of it. It's not a slight. This is definitely not thumbing my nose or whatever at Buchardt. Absolutely far from it. The guys will tell you how busy I've been. It's insane. The reason we're doing this video so quickly is because I got a jet shortly. Didn't even occur to me. My mistake. I'm sorry. Maybe we should have. We'll try and resolve it. Maybe I might dig into my wallet and buy a pair, and then we'll check it out again.
But please note that we would pay for a pair. We would not want something sent to us, like.
Or maybe we can cajole Jay.
Well,
bring his
maybe, I
pair.
don't know.
Yeah.
But Jay has a pair.
Yeah, we'll see. And here's the big one. We are shilling for Sonus Faber, right? So I can't possibly expect you guys to know, but over the 30 some odd years of being in business, I've carried a lot of products that I no longer do. And it's not because we shill for them. When a manufacturer stops doing what I expect them to do in terms of quality or value, at some point we part ways. There may come a time where we will no longer represent Sonus Faber. We happen to like Sonus Faber sonically, but there may come a time either because management sucks, or speakers start sucking big time, or we just change our direction so completely, like for example, wanting to sell JBLs instead of Sonus Faber. And when that day comes, we will tell you about it, but it has nothing to do with shilling for Sonus Faber. They don't pay us for videos. God only knows. I've been frustrated with the factory for the back orders and so on and so forth. So certainly not the case of shilling for them. The other more important point that somebody pointed out, you guys don't talk up the Buchardt because you don't carry them, and it will directly impact your sales. Now, did we talk about this before? No. Did we talk about it?
Never.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a question to these guys. What did you just sell this last Saturday in terms of speakers?
Well, I sold a pair of Sonus Faber Amati Traditions.
Roughly how much are they?
They're $45,000 Canadian.
What did you just sell yesterday?
I sold a pair of Wilson Audio Sabrina X's.
And roughly how much are they?
$25,650 Canadian.
Okay. So yesterday when I was in the store, client came in and ordered a pair of progression preamps with the amplifiers, roughly $90,000 or $100,000. When was the last time we sold a $3,000 speaker?
Well, I did sell a pair of Sonetto 1s to a client of mine who's actually been in the store more than several times.
Okay.
And he bought a pair of speakers for his daughter so that she could have
When
really
was
good
that?
sound.
Yeah,
That
when-
was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks
Okay.
ago.
So 3 weeks ago, okay, $3,000. When was the last time that any of you recall that we sold any $3,000, $2,000 speakers? No. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm actually saying this to explain something for Audio Excellence. Unfortunately, to my sadness, which I'll explain in a moment, we don't sell enough affordable gear, and that's partly because by the time the client finds out about us, they've already gone through that great affordable stuff, and they come to us because they want higher performing gear.
Well, they're looking to always to replace.
So as much as we do have wonderful, I believe, affordable gear, most clients don't come to us for those reasons. They come to us for more expensive stuff. And so as much as I would love to be able to say to you, yes, Buchardt and products like Buchardt actually affect our business, it really doesn't. And as I said earlier, I'm sad. I'm saddened because I would love to be able to have that new buyer and show them what's cool about audio, and show them, you know, the ranges that they can go to in the future. Because that's how I started. That's how Philip started. That's how Louis started. We started because some store took us in and showed us the little products that we could afford, and then we graduated from there. You know, Jay is a perfect example. When Jay first reached out to me, he sent an email. He says, "I'm Jay, I've got a YouTube channel. I was wondering if you would be so kind to let me borrow some headphones so I can come to your store and listen to headphones." Ask the guys, I was through the roof. I was so happy. I said to Philip, there's this young kid who reached out to me. When he comes in, please do everything. Don't
He asked me to be nice to him.
Exactly. Don't be an asshole. That's what I said. Be nice. Show him all the headphones. Be nice. And then I even said to Jay, I will introduce you to a bunch of other people in the industry because I want to cultivate the young blood. So because it's so important to our industry, if we're going to grow and stay in business as far as an industry is concerned, we need the young blood. And look at what Jay's done now. Today, we're very proud of him.
He ran with it, so...
Right? We're very, very proud of him and what he's achieved and accomplished in a short period of time. So good for you, Jay. And if any of you don't believe me, reach out to him. His YouTube channel is Jay Soulseek or something along those lines.
Jay's Iyagi.
Iyagi, whatever. You can comment on his videos and ask him if this is true. And Jay, if you watch this video, comment below and tell them that what I just said is mostly true. Some of it I'm exaggerating because Jay wasn't as innocent as he turned out to be, a bit of a playboy. But anyway, so anyway, the point is quite far from what some of you think. We're not here to denigrate anybody. I really enjoy it when I see success of affordable products, whether or not we carry it. Final other few things. This gentleman, don't know his name, but your call sign is Nemo Propaganda Reviews. Good for you. What's the fun?
Really? No,
good for you regarding your channel. Keep it up. I hope you have great success and then you enjoy what you do. Now, finally, Philip was just mentioning just before we started the video. Boy, Adrian, you were
a little bit irate, I believe.
Yes.
I've never seen you react so harshly to some of the comments that we've been seeing.
Whole bunch of crazy things this morning, projects going sideways, which I have to deal with. So when I read this multiple posts from this gentleman, if I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize, Henrik Sorensen. You started off by basically saying, you know, yeah, I own a pair of these speakers. They weren't as great as I expected. I own a pair of these new audio vectors, which are so much better. It started out that way. And then as you continued to post, it got progressively worse. Got to the point where on the latest Denifrips video that we did, somebody commented that you guys cannot be honest because you don't sell this stuff, and you say, I believe so. So let me just get right to the heart of this, Henry. You sound like you are maybe our contemporaries in terms of age, because you say you've been doing this for over 30 years. So you should know better. You're not a kid, an internet warrior, hiding behind your computer and talking nonsense. You should know better. You should know the difference between asking a question and saying, I don't get this. Why does everybody like it and you don't? That's a fair question. We tried to answer this earlier. As opposed to making these allegations and conspiracy theories without knowing any of us personally. You can Google and know exactly where we are. You can check our reputation. You will always have some people who like us and some people who don't. That's okay, that's fair. But the vast majority of our clients obviously love them. That's why we're still in business. As Philip just pointed out, he just sold whole massive amounts of stuff, and the clients came in, twice, 3 times, spent a total of maybe 2-3 hours? That's a lot of money to spend with us without knowing who we are if our reputation is that bad. So you should know better, and shame on you. And if I'm harsh, I'm sorry, but yeah, you went too far by saying what you said. So
we're just telling it like it is, man.
It's supposed to be in good fun. I mean, if we were really wanted to do a super serious review, we could do that.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to give you an impression of, based on again our many decades of experience, and again, it's not something that is written in stone. You can certainly disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have your own opinion is equally valid, but just know that you won't be able to change ours if we can't change yours as well.
Yeah, and then last conclusions. Just because we don't like something doesn't mean that you shouldn't like what you
Exactly.
like. Right? Your taste is yours, our taste is ours. You know, that's how it is. And the world is big enough for everybody. If you'll notice that in some of my replies to the comments, somebody said, I bought the speakers and I really like them, and what did I say? Good for you. Honestly, good for you. And then finally, people who complain that there are no negative comments or no negative reviews, the question I have for you is, are you actually saying that there are no negative reviews, or that you're upset with us because of our reviews, or the fact that our reviews were negative and those reviews were on your products? So in other words, you were unhappy because the review was negative about something that you like, which again, as I said earlier, shouldn't matter. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Shouldn't matter what we think. All right, so anyway, that's all I have. And I got a jet. So thanks for watching this. And as always, I do enjoy watching your comments. So reading your comments, I mean. So if you've got more stuff to say, Henry, again, I apologize if I came across too hard, but honestly, you tweaked my ball too hard today. Thanks for watching again. Adrian from Audioexcellenceka Canada, Philip, Lewis, and the two Alexes. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.